Hello, good people of YouTube, Mountbatten here, and today I'm updating a list that I did about 6 months ago, and that was the top 5 credit farming ships. Most of the ships in that list you actually can't get anymore, so I want to update that list with ships that you can actually get right now, as of me recording this on September 12th. So again, ships like Missouri and Jean Bar and Smolensk won't be on this list because you can no longer get those ships. Those ships were fantastic credit farmers, but sadly they are gone. Except for the Smolensk. I'm not so sad that thing's not available in the shop anymore. But anyway, the following 5 ships are very, very nice credit farmers, and if you have them or if you buy one of them, you shouldn't have much of a credit problem after playing them for maybe 4 or 5 games. But anyway, let's go ahead and pop right on in at number 5, which is the Tier 8 Premium American Battleship Massachusetts. So regular viewers of this channel know that I already love this ship enough. This ship is amazing. She has 9 16-inch guns and American secondaries. And American secondaries are like German secondaries, except they don't have the penetrating power of the German secondaries, but they still have the range and actually better reload speed than the German secondaries. So while the massive secondaries won't be able to pack the same punch per pin as German secondaries do, they are still quite formidable in just sheer firepower and, sheer rate of fire and their fire chance. So when she's going up against cruisers and DDs, she will be able to chew through most cruisers she meets, and definitely just about every DD that she meets. But when it comes to fighting battleships with their secondaries, they won't get the same level of pins that the Germans do, but with their high rate of fire and decent fire chance, they will still bring the pain in fires. And you do have the 9 16-inch guns on top of that as well. And on top of that, her damage cut and heal has an amazing cooldown time. We're talking about 40 seconds here. And her amazing AA, you have a fantastic Tier 8 premium ship that is fully capable of bringing the pain even in Tier 10 battles, which is great for credit farming because you get a boost when you do damage to higher tier ships. I think it's like a 1.25 times boost to ships that are 1 tier higher than you, and then 1.50 for ships that are 2 tiers higher than you. That make 1.75 for ships that are 3 tiers higher than you. And then if you're fighting ships 4 tiers higher than you, you're either doing something wrong or you're in an asymmetric battle. But anyway, Massachusetts is an amazing ship, incredibly fun to play. Play it like a brawler, play it smart, and you will have a nice pile of credits by the end of your match. Alright, moving on to number 4. We have the Tier 8 Premium German Cruiser, Mainz. Or Mainz. I think Mainz is the right way to say it. Anyway, the Mainz is a hipper hull, but with 12 150mm German guns. So she's a bit of a light and heavy cruiser mixed together. Her hipper hull is a bit nerfed because they decreased the armor plating, but the 12 150mm guns certainly makes up for that. Now, with these German 150mm guns, you can pin 38mm of armor, which means you don't have to take IFHE, which means your fire chance stays intact. Add the fire flag and demolition expert on top of that, and you have a very, very, very lovely fire chance on 12 guns that reload in about 6 seconds. So Mainz is a fantastic farmer. She also has torpedoes, by the way. She has 4 sets of torpedo tubes, which, I mean, you don't really use them in this ship, but boy, if a battleship or a cruiser gets a little bit too close to you, you can absolutely nuke them. Now, the Mainz is also very good at fighting DDs because she has very flat shell arcs, which means that DDs even out to past 14 kilometers are relatively easy to hit, not the easiest ever, but the flat shell arcs with her good shell velocity makes it easy to do damage to DDs, which, since you're doing damage to DDs, the game rewards you with proportional damage. So if you melt a DD down, that's the same as basically melting a whole battleship down in terms of reward. So yeah, you got that going for you. And again, she's Tier 8. But she has the firepower and also fantastic AA too to really stay in it in Tier 10 games to where you can farm Tier 10 ships. And again, the higher the tier, the more damage due to them, the more rewards that you get through the reward system in the game. So she's fantastic at that. And if you throttle choke, which that's pointing your stern toward the enemy ship, playing with your throttle, flooring at 1 second, going at 1/4 speed 1 second, and then going in reverse the other second, you really throw off the enemy shots, and you can quite easily avoid most damage doing that. Plus, with the hipper hull, if you're angled correctly, you will bounce most shells thrown at you. If you get hit by a Yami, a Musashi, or Shikishima, you're still going to hurt. But in other cases, you can bounce most shells or pray that they overpin. But anyway, Mainz is a fantastic tier 8 cruiser and a great credit farmer. Alright, moving on down to number 3. We have the tier 9 premium pan-European DD, the Friesland. So the Friesland is a destroyer with no torpedoes, but about a 2-second reload on her main battery guns, which that should be pretty self-explanatory right there. Her guns are absolutely crazy. You literally just already have a never-ending rain of shells before Adrenaline Rush even kicks in with the Friesland. So when Adrenaline Rush does kick in, like, my god, it's like the gunners don't have to even take a break. Well, I think it actually uses auto-loaders. But anyway, the ship is absolutely insane. You get a smokescreen, hydroacoustic surge, and man, the Friesland it's just a machine. It's an absolute machine. And you can see in the video you're watching right now, during this whole match, I just drained this Massachusetts down. Unfortunately, I didn't get the kill on him, but I absolutely just farmed the crap out of this Massachusetts for most of the match. And even though I unfortunately did die a little early in this match, I still made one heck of a profit with the amount of damage I did to the Massachusetts and the other ships in this match. But anyway, the Friesland will pretty much win any gunfight you get into, especially with her AP. Her AP is fantastic. You can, man, if a light cruiser slips up and shows you their broadside in the Friesland, you will Citadel the ever-living crap out of them. And with the reload, there won't be a whole lot they can do, especially if they've done goofed up. Now, of course, she doesn't have a torpedo, so that does cut back on a lot of the destroyer aspects of it, but she has fantastic AA, and the guns are just so good, it doesn't really matter. Both turrets can 360 degrees too, so they are fantastic when you're trying to run away from the situation, still keeping yourself in the fight. And she does only have 2 turrets, but again, the insane reload more than makes up for that. And the Friesland, it's a free XP ship, so you can get this one for free. I do believe you can also buy it in the premium shop for, I think it's $77. But why do that when you can get it for free XP and get this ship for free, and then you've got a fantastic credit farmer for free. So yeah, I would recommend taking that route and getting the Friesland. Alright, going on down to number 2, we have the tier 9 premium Japanese cruiser, the Azuma. Now, a lot of you are wondering why the Azuma, not the Yoshino, because the Yoshino is just the better Azuma. Well, the Azuma is a tier 9, which means it can see tier 10 games. And since it's a tier 9, and pretty much the same thing as the Yoshino, you can farm that economic booster off of tier 10 ships. So yes, it's slightly inferior to the Yoshino, but if you're going for maximum credit farming, I mean, this would be the best way to do it. So the Azuma is a Yoshino without torpedoes, basically, and I think slightly less AA. But her main guns are fantastic. They are Japanese cruiser guns, 310 millimeters, and they have Japanese HE Alpha, which hurts like heck, especially if it's a broadside battleship or a broadside cruiser, with a fantastic fire chance, with a 22-kilometer range if you use spotter plane, and the health and armor of a supercruiser. Now, the Azuma armor is weaker than the other supercruiser armors, but, I mean, if you angle right, you can bounce most shells. You will take a big hit here and there, but it does have a heal, and it does have the range to stay in the back and farm all match. It's basically a Mega Zal, not to like Conqueror levels of Mega Zal, but it's basically an overgrown Zal. So if you played Zal, you play this thing just like Zal, minus the torpedoes, and you will have plenty of credits at the end of the battle. This match right here, I think I wound up doing like 157 or 170,000 damage. By the end of it, we lost, but I still made a tidy profit because of the amount of damage I had farmed. In addition to having great HE Alpha, it also has, of course, great fire chance on her shells. So, again, more damage for you, more farming for you, more credits for you, and more farming on tier 10 ships, even more credits for you. And being at tier 9, it can also see tier 7 matches, so that's not the best for farming, but you still have that opportunity to be basically a tier 9 well, we really buy a tier 7 standard to tier 7 battleship in tier 7 games with the Azuma. So there's that factor thrown in there too. But again, Azuma, great farming ship, great credit earner. Coming in at number 1, we have the tier 9 premium American cruiser, Alaska. Alaska is another super cruiser, and it's the Alaska. It's a fantastic cruiser. It gets that American super heavy AP shells on super cruiser guns, so again 310mm guns. And boy, does this thing slap. You can chunk broadside BBs at range for about 10 to 12k on average. That's not even the most I've done to a broadside BB with the Alaska, but it's got that. It's got also great HE on top of that. So if you can't Citadel it, just burn the absolute crap out of it. And it has great AA because it's American. So you have immunity to most aircraft carriers that you'll run across with the Alaska. Not all of them because, again, AA is kind of all over the place. You've got super heavy American cruiser AP. You got great HE. You got a pretty decent armor layout. It's not Puerto Rico great, but it's still pretty darn decent. Ship is also maneuverable, and it has radar on top of that and DFAA. So it's a fantastic cruiser that can, again, hang at any battle that it gets thrown into because it's, it's a tier 9, but it's got the heart of a tier 10, really. And again, it's a tier 9. You can farm damage against tier 10 ships and get that booster and have great profit by the end of it. Also, with all these ships too, if you really want to go for maximum credit grind, make sure you throw on all these special signal flags and such to where you get those boosters as well, and you will really, really have a nice and tidy profit by the end of it. So if you have any of these ships or are looking at getting any of these ships, I would recommend them for credit farming. Any of these ships will do a fantastic job at that. I would just pick one that fits your playstyle. For example, if you're a battleship main, don't get the Friesland and expect to do great in it. But if you're a DD main, Friesland's a pretty solid choice. Well, any of the high tier pan-European DDs would be too right now because those ships are really, really, really strong right now. So like the Smallland too would also be great. But anyway, guys, that's an updated list. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Any other ships you would have thrown in there? Let me know. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. We are on our way to 20,000 subscribers. We're getting very close to that goal thanks to you guys. But anyway, guys, hope you're having a great Monday. I hope to catch you guys in the next one.